Recently, BACKTRACKS has been enjoying watching the construction of the Bankstown Metro line in Sydney, Australia. And April 2025 has been a big month as we saw the first test trains running all the way to Bankstown. Okay, not quite a big feat, as trains have been running there since 1909, but not driverless ones. Well, actually, this first one did have a driver, but you get the significance. And work continues on the Metro and Sydney trains buildings at Bankstown. But what about the other metro lines being built? But also this month, another Sydney Metro line has had a big moment, with the first tracks laid on the Sydney Metro Western Sydney Airport line. So let's change tracks on BACKTRACKS, and in this video we'll take a look at the new Western Sydney Airport Metro line. I'm Marty and welcome to BACKTRACKS. Well, why is this metro being built? Well, pretty simply, it's designed to service the new Western Sydney International Airport, which is on track to open in 2026. It's a new international airport under construction in the suburbs of Ludlam and Badgerys Creek in New South Wales, Australia. The 23-kilometre new railway will link St Mary's on the main Western Suburban line in Sydney with the future job hubs that they're creating around the airport and, of course, the airport itself. The project includes 6 new metro stations at St Mary's, as I said, interchanging with the existing suburban railway station, Orchard Hills to service a future commercial and mixed-use precinct, Ludlam to service a future education, innovation and commercial precinct. And then there are 2 stations located within the airport site, one at the airport business park and then one at the airport terminal itself. And then what they're saying will be the commercial heart of Western Sydney, a station located at Bradfield. And it's called Bradfield because it's named after John Bradfield. I really like this guy. He was an Australian engineer who played a key role in designing and building the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And he basically designed the core of Sydney's current railway network. Regular viewers of this channel would know that I like to get first-hand footage of the topic of the video. And that's actually the most fun part of making these. So the first thing I did after locating the stations on Google Maps was to drive out there to see what I could see. St Mary's had some great vantage points for filming, where I was able to get up high and onto the station to look down into the new station box. But other stations like Ludlam and Bradfield were nearly impossible to get close to. So firstly, the new St Mary's station will provide a pretty efficient link between the existing T1 Western line and the new Metro line. And the station will include a new concourse to connect north and south of the precinct. You can see the new overhead concourse being built here. So this station, St Mary's, will become a pretty important transport interchange into the future. And to quote the movie Field of Dreams, if you build it, he will come. That could be said about Orchard Hills. It's quite an unusual experience visiting these sites because they're building this metro line basically in farmland with nothing really of consequence built around it yet. So the Orchard Hills station is located on the eastern side of Kent Road. The station will have one entrance on Kent Road with provision for a future second entrance east of the station. The line from St Mary's runs in twin tunnels to just before the north side of Orchard Hills station. And Orchard Hills will be built in a cutting with the station entrance at ground level, similar to stations like Leppington on Sydney Trains network and Bella Vista on the M1. And as it heads south from there, it rises up onto a viaduct. And the next station south is Ludlam, and this is about as close as I could get viewing the viaduct just to the south of the station from Ludlam Road. And the station will have one entrance on the western side of the station's platforms. You can see from these videos that the station is going to be an elevated station, very much like, I guess, ones like Kellyville or Rouse Hill on the M1. So let's talk about the viaducts. There are 3.2 kilometres of viaduct, and they take the metro line over key locations like the Warragamba pipelines, Blaxland Creek and Ludlam Road. Next is the Airport Business Park station, and this is about as close as I could get because there's no public access any closer. And they say that the Airport Business Park will become a major employer because of the logistics and airport services companies that will move to the location. And next south is the airport terminal station, which obviously is built adjacent to the airport terminal. So it'll be a quick and efficient connection between the airport and the station, which looks like it is going to be underground. Although, walking from the terminal building, travellers will connect via a covered walkway at ground level between the airport terminal building and the station itself. And the final station on stage 1 of this metro line is Bradfield, formerly the Aerotropolis. And that was a stupid name. Bradfield is a suburb in southwestern Sydney. It was only gazetted as a new suburb in 2023. In 2021, the New South Wales government announced that this 100-hectare section of Bringelly would become a new city. They actually intend this to be a brand new city, and construction of this new city started in 2024, and they said it's projected to be finished in 2074. Not sure I'll be making YouTube videos at that point. I'm going to finish this video on suggestions of what could be done to improve the connectivity of this line. But just before that, let's quickly look at the operations of the line. Parklife Metro will operate and maintain the line for 15 years after it becomes operational. And Siemens will deliver 12 automated 3-car Siemens Inspiro trains to run on the line. And the Sydney Metro Trains Facility and Operations Control Centre will be operated just south of the Orchard Hills train station. And there'll be 2 service facilities located at Claremont Meadows and in Bringelly. And let's cover off one more thing. Why isn't this line better connected to existing transport infrastructure, particularly in the south? And there's been a number of suggestions of how that could be achieved. Firstly, it could be a metro extension from Bradfield through to Leppington, which is the end of the Sydney Trains network. It's only 7.5 kilometres away. And obviously, Sydney Metro is thinking about future extensions. And in their grand plan map, there's links to both Leppington and Macarthur. But what would they look like? It could be a Sydney Trains extension from Glenfield, Leppington to Bradfield. Or alternatively, it could be an extension of Sydney Trains from Campbelltown, Macarthur, up through a new station at Narellan and Oran Park and into Bradfield. Or alternatively, it could be an extension of the Metro South from Bradfield to Oran Park, Narellan and Macarthur. For me, and I'm no town planner, but the easiest one and the best in the short term would be extending the metro line just to Leppington Station. There's plenty of space at Leppington Station for metro conversion, and I could see it being very similar to what's happened in Chatswood, where the centre platforms would be used for the metro line. And do that while thinking about the longer term plan. And that would be, in my opinion, also extending the metro south through Oran Park and Narellan to Macarthur. Basically have a branch at Bradfield to connect to Leppington and also then to Macarthur. And Sydney Metro's grand plan has a straight line drawn between St Mary's to Schofields and to Tallawong. The exact path of the line isn't drawn, so I've just made it up, suggesting that it could go via Emerton Village and Bidwell. And I'm assuming at this point it would be all in twin tunnels, because there are 2 tunnel stubs already built at St Mary's for this future extension. And I guess probably at Schofields, from this point it might go in an elevated line. And my guess, for the last couple of kilometres between Schofields and Tallawong, it would probably travel on a viaduct on the north side of Schofields Road. But before it reached Tallawong, the line would have to pass, my guess, to the southern side of the stabling and maintenance yard at Tallawong for the M1 line, before it eventually reached Tallawong Metro Station. As the trains on the Western Sydney Metro line are different from that on the M1 line, I'd see that people would have to transfer trains here, and maybe even the trains would come in on different platforms. Well, there you have it. BACKTRACKS' first look at the Western Sydney Metro line. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making it and learning about the line as I did. And please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And hopefully we'll see you next time when we take another look at one of the new metro lines being built in Sydney. Thanks, and see you later.